one.
Roll tape.
All right. So roll tape. All right.
All right. Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks, Louise. Okay. All right. Shall we look at the agenda? Let me see.
Yeah.
Share my screen.
And we start with attendance, I suppose. All right.
I wanted to point out just for those of you who are fairly new that this document we created, Theta created it last year, and everything's attached to it. So you can see last year's minutes, the meeting schedule, the bylaws, the member list, and then this year's. So this is a really handy document because everything's linked here. And so we can look at our May agenda.
Mm-hmm.
And Rebecca, are you going to take notes for us? You there? Did we lose Rebecca? Oh, there you are. Yeah. For minutes. And then I'll turn it over to Mark to facilitate as our chairperson.
Sounds good. Okay, so how do we start the, I guess we start with the attendance, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes, that'll work.
Okay. All right, so help me out here. How do we just call out our names?
You want me to just call on people and then they can announce themselves and then Rebecca's minutes?
Okay, that works.
Or you could do it. If you put on gallery, you can see everybody. Gallery view.
Mm-hmm. Oh wait, that didn't work.
I already got attendance.
Oh, you did? Okay, good.
Yeah.
All right, so we
she's on it. Yeah, cool.
Okay.
Thank you.
So let's review the March minutes. Let me open that. Okay. All right, here we go. So the review of the March 2021 minutes were approval of prior meeting minutes, the approval of the agenda. No guests were present, no other oral communications, introductions, and the pertinent minutes were the need for more communication between staff and families in the IEP process was a recurring theme. Another recurring theme that emerged, which was the need to have more electives inside of special day classes. Discussion resumed on locating an NPS in Fremont. It was suggested that there be a way for parents with special needs to get together on a regular basis, and if Sedac could host this, which I think we'll tackle again today as well. And Chair is coordinating 3 work groups to present before the school board the planning proposal. Okay.
Let me see if I can raise hand picture.
So how do we
I just have a,
Go ahead, Joni.
on, just, I don't know if you're aware, but attached to these minutes, if you
Mhm.
scroll down, has an attendance, and it looks like the attendance is from a time ago. As you can see, it looks like Fada was in attendance to this meeting. If we're attaching the attendance to the
Got it. Okay.
meeting notice. So I like the idea that we have an attendance roster attached to each minute already listed.
Mhm.
But I'm wondering if we need to update that.
Yes, I think we should. Well, Rebecca and I can update the template because it also has people who are no longer on the committee.
Yeah.
And then also Joyce Ricard, who retired. So I don't think she wants to come back and be on the
Yeah,
seat.
Claire. Right.
So
I mean,
we can update this for sure.
Well, so yeah, so to be clear, if we know who was in attendance in last meeting, we'll, in order to adopt the minutes, we'll need to remember who was in the meeting last time. Do we have that?
I don't think would we have the attendance from the last one, but even then we can just start now. If that is not available. I mean, I think the fact that sheet is there is is really just an oversight, right? So we can correct it, or we should correct it.
Yes, and we have the Zoom attendance, so we can. So
Oh,
do
we can
we
always
wanna-
look back at that. That's
Oh,
true.
that's perfect. If we have the Zoom attendance and then we
That's
can.
how I do the attendance.
Yeah, and we could always table the approval and fix that, and then I don't know how that works under the Green Act if we come back.
Fran, I'm also wondering if I'm just looking at the participants and I don't do we have quorum? I mean, I know I'm not a voting member. I don't know who else is non-voting, but I don't know that we have quorum right now to do anything official at
that's-
this meeting.
No, because we Joni's a
I-
member, Mark,
I'm a voting member, yes.
yeah, Rebecca,
It's a voting member, yes.
Amelia, I think you are a member, right? You were approved by the board, and Pravina. So I think we might have a quorum. Do we need
How
five?
many? Yeah, I'm not sure how many you need for quorum. I'm not. I'm not sure.
I'll check the bylaws,
Yeah.
2/3, but I'll check the bylaws right now if we could look at the minutes.
So 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 5. So I'm
And what is our current membership? Our current roster membership? Do we know, Mark?
here we
I
go.
do not.
I could pull it up. Yeah.
Is that 1, 2?
So it says 5 parent or guardians enrolled in the school. 2 site administrators, 2 school board trustees, 1 FEDIP member, 1 CSC unit member, 1 SEI unit member, 1 community member, and 1 student member. So that's the group can consist of 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 members. But do you have 12 members?
Not tonight. We had 15 RSVPs, but I don't see anyone else in the waiting room.
But you
Okay, so
yeah.
yeah, so how do we? Yeah, what is the rule on this then?
But do we, I guess what I'm asking, because I know that, or one of our other school board members, she retired, right?
Yes.
Do we have a replacement of the school board member?
Well, but school board members don't count toward quorum anyway
Okay.
because we're not voting
Voting?
members.
Okay, so the voting members are the 5 parents, which is 5.
Mhm.
We have 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 members then.
I'm not a voting member. I'm
Yeah, I
just,
didn't
I'm
put,
just, yeah, just the liaison.
yeah, I didn't put the site members, so it's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I didn't put the site administrators, that's 10.
Okay, and then so how many voting members do we have present? So technically speaking, did we say it had to be 2/3?
I'm looking at the quorum. I'm just seeing how many members are on here.
Yeah, it typically in committee bylaws, it's a majority,
Okay,
which we usually always make sure we seat a committee with an odd number of members so that
Okay.
we don't end up, so that you don't end up
Right,
with 50-50
right.
because
Right.
50 isn't a majority, so I'm not sure.
if that's right. So let me check if the site administrators do get a vote though, okay? I didn't add the site administrators as a vote, so maybe they do get a vote.
And just normally, if there isn't quorum at a committee meeting, which happens sometimes, is you can still hold the meeting and present information, but there wouldn't be any official votes taken. That's the only kind of
Got it.
difference.
Yeah, which works for me because I was really just going to update the group on kind of like where we're at on like on the initiatives that I've been working on.
Okay.
But again, I just, for the sake of for the sake of following the correct protocol, I would like to know where we stand as far as quorum goes.
Okay, great. Well, we can, if you'd like to move ahead, I'll just keep on reading the bylaws if you want to move ahead.
Sure. So I guess, well, we can't approve the minutes then
It
if you
says
don't
it
have a quorum.
requires a 2/3 vote, I thought. Yeah, it says right here, the bylaws must be amended. Oh, that's for the bylaws to be amended. It's 2/3 vote.
Yeah, this topic came up in our first meeting.
Yeah. So to amend the bylaws, it's a 2/3 vote. Okay, so yeah, I don't think it's in the bylaws, but to amend the bylaws, it's a 2/3 vote. So
Okay, so there's no,
so we'd have to do Robert's Rules of Order then to find out on Robert's Rule of Wars to do a voting member, which I think I defer to Trustee Jones regarding that, which would be a majority then to hold a quorum.
so do we, I don't know. I don't know where we stand as far as we have how many voting members present?
5.
That,
So
it's 5
5
voting.
out of, how many did you count on the roster, Joni, who are voting members?
Well, again, I think we talked about that. Remember when we talked about that at the beginning, Rebecca?
Mhm.
If we say site members were voting members, then it would be 2, but I didn't include them in the count. So that says the members of this board is 5 parent or guardian, 2 site members, 2 trustee board members, 1 FUDA member, 1 CSEA member, 1 CSEI unit member, 1 community member, and 1 student member. So that's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So that would make it an odd number. So that's 15. Oh, wait.
Right. But I think it's all moot because how many voting members are currently present, right? That would
That's
only
right.
just be,
That'd be 13. So that'd be 13 members. So we did probably include the site administrators. So that's 13. Yeah.
right.
Just
present,
I'm looking at the bylaws and I think maybe we need, I just skimmed them, but it doesn't look like it establishes who's voting and who isn't, and or what the quorum is. And usually bylaws do that. So I'm thinking maybe we need to take a look at the bylaws.
okay,
for the committee.
let's just do this. And I don't know if we can officially like enter this into minutes, right? But I can find my old, I do have I can find, let's see if we can get structurally fix this thing again so that we know exactly all of this, how many members we have, who are voting, and who are voting members, who are non-voting members. and then basically just get all this, because it seems like right now we don't know what it is, right? And I
Yeah,
don't want
so
to
I like
go
the idea of potentially revising the bylaws, and we can do
Sure.
that. These are board approved, so what we can do is go
Well,
maybe meet offline with the group of us.
correct. I don't even know if it's a revision. We're going to start with like writing some, because if there aren't any guidelines already right now regarding who's voting and who's not, what a quorum is, it seems like the only one that is there is what it takes to revise the bylaws, which is 2/3. So let's
I
get that.
wonder, these are pretty like what's the word, canned bylaws that we use for a lot of our committees. So I'm wondering if maybe we should look at all our committee bylaws, maybe make some improvements so it's more clear. But I think
Right.
probably we can table this for now, unless people want to approve it with the exception of the attendance being clarified. And then we can move on and know that on our to-do list will be to revise the bylaws and gain clarity as to who
Right.
are the voting members and what's a quorum.
Right. Because one of the things that I do recognize that I have to kind of like get done um, sometime this year, so hopefully sooner rather than later, is to kind of figure out the direction again of Sedac, so that we can actually go out and find out who now wants to join this. And because from the initial group of people that we had, for whatever reason, a lot of them are no longer are not around anymore. So I just have to kind of like figure out what's going on and then find out who actually will want to be a part of this initiative, right? So that's something that needs to happen. Um, and I don't think that's going to happen until CDAC itself kind of has a better direction that you can tell people, so that they understand exactly what the group is about, right? It's always been kind of amorphous, even during the time of FEDA, because I know that I directly asked that question before.
Yeah.
What the charter is of CDAC. I'm a little clearer on it now, but I don't believe it's something that shows itself very readily.
I think I like that you said that, Mark. I think the key here is that there's so many special ed committees. We have CAC, we have SEPTA, we have CLAC, we have Sedac, and then there's some subcommittees within those that aren't school related but more parent provided. So I'm wondering if this committee wants to kind of create some kind of a focus for what this committee does versus what SEPTA does, which is it's a special education PTA. So they have
that's exactly it.
Yeah, and then CAC is a SELPA committee that does parent education, training, all kinds of things, transition planning, all that kind of stuff. And so maybe we could, as a CDAC, and I don't know what this would look like, but my suggestion for the committee would be to pick a focus, or pick maybe repurpose ourselves so that we can then advertise that and hopefully get membership that can attend regularly.
Correct. I had always like asked this question, right? And I'm still kind of like not clear on this part. I'm not clear on the answer. Right? I think there were all these, as you say, Fran, right? There are all these groups, right? All of these groups inside of the district that are kind of like operating, tangentially to each other, all moving towards the same thing. However, in the midst of all that, FEDA sought to start this, right? And I could never figure out exactly why what was the purpose that she had in mind. What was exactly kind of like the goal she had when she moved to have this committee created, because she was aware of all those other groups were around, right? So if I only knew what it was that she had envisioned and the need that she had for this group to exist, then I would say that should be the charter. And that's what I would write out and be able to kind of like I would be able to verbalize that to other people. So I don't know if you're aware of what it is, or what, or if anyone else is, but that's kind of like where I would start. Otherwise, I would have to kind of like figure out a possible charter, but I wouldn't want to do that without acknowledging kind of like the reason why this was initially started in the first place.
So I'm glad you brought that up. So the discussions that FADA presented to the board during oral communications at several board meetings, and this is why it was agendized as a committee, as a proposed committee. She was very focused on expanding opportunities for special education students in the district. So in other words, we have 55 non-public school students, which is, for a district our size, that's a very low number, but I think we can even do better in keeping those 55 students in the district boundaries and programs here. And so I believe that that was FADA's goal, was to start with like because most of the 55 are students in autism specific programs and pretty significant autism. And so I think that's where she was going with it, is she wanted to develop more programs and opportunities in the district to keep students here. And then once we got maybe an autism specific satellite, then move on to maybe more ED programs. We have pretty solid ED programs, but that's the other group of students that are typically sent outside to non-public schools if we can't serve them. And then there's sort of the one-offs, the students who are in maybe residential placements due to really severe depression, anxiety, suicidal ideation, mental health issues that cannot be addressed in any other way. So I believe she was really focused on the autism programs and then the ED programs to bring non-public schools students back to the district. And that was,
Okay.
and it's an advisory committee, so it's not necessarily a decision-making body, but it's a group that can take advisement and recommendations to the board for review.
Right. Okay. So
I have to agree with what Fran is saying in terms of her vision. FADA's vision there, yes.
Okay. So if I get this correctly, the original vision was really, this is a committee that advocates, mainly would advocate for the 55 students who are going outside of the district, and whoever is in the periphery of that. That would be that, basically the not, the students who go outside of the district are the epicenter of it. And then, as you serve that epicenter, basically then it'll radiate from that, who this body is basically looking to advocate for. Is that, do I have that idea about correct, or is there something I'm missing there?
Well, I was thinking that was her start. That was just the first project, and that was the beginning.
Okay.
The jumping off point.
Yeah.
That was the first project.
In my conversations with her, that was definitely a focus of hers, but at the time she was also working really closely with Konica, whose focus was really expanding the inclusion programs. So there seemed to be kind of a two-pronged focus, and really all of them centered around better serving our special ed students within Fremont. So for those who are currently in our programs, making sure that those students have more access to full inclusion. And for those who are in programs outside the district, finding ways to serve them internally. And I think that was kind of what I understood her goal to be. And because we have, there are other parent groups in the community, the African American Parent Advisory Committee and the Native American Parent Advisory Committee. I think she felt like there were, other groups of parents and students who had an advisory committee devoted to them. And I think she felt like the special ed population deserved that same kind of committee representation and avenue to address the board.
Yes, exactly. And another thing to consider is that SEPTA is parent run. And so the district, we work in collaboration with SEPTA and we work really well together, but it's run by the parents. CAC is a SELPA committee. So we really don't have a district committee, so to speak. We have a lot of people who join the other committees from the district, but really this is a district focus committee, of course, run by the members. So I think that was the idea, is that FEDA and I believe Maria Salas and Kanika and a few other parents were very vocal at the board meeting and very passionate about the district needs its own advisory committee. And so that's sort of where Sedac was born.
Okay, so all good stuff. I've written it down. It'll. I'm hoping it. It'll help me kind of like write a charter that we can all like agree on. However, I think
Could
the
I
part
ask
that
a
I
quick
missed.
question, Mark?
Oh, sorry, Rebecca. Go ahead.
So CDAC is a district level committee or a SELPA level committee or both?
District, yeah.
District. Okay, thank you.
The CAC is the Community Advisory Committee, and that's a function of the SELPA. But,
Okay.
CDAC is the district.
Thank you.
Okay. So I think since and Fran, thank you. You made the introduction between myself and Kanika. I think I would just like to talk to Kanika myself, because apparently, which I just found out now, she has something to do as well with having spoken to, work with Fada in the very beginning. So I feel there might be something there to be learned. So I'll go ahead and I mean, we've already kind of like thrown a couple of emails back and forth, but I didn't know that there was this angle. So I'm going to explore that with her first and check that, and maybe there's some more to be found out, and then post that. Yeah, I think the writing of a charter or a mission statement at the very least should be fairly simple.
Yeah, I like the idea of a mission statement. That's really good.
Mark, this is Pravina. I'm happy to help you with that if you'd like.
Oh, okay.
We can add me to the email if you would want to, and we can work together offline.
Because like I said, I believe that there's a reason. There's a reason why the CDAC was basically what Fada put all of her effort into it, when there were other avenues to pursue if she had so chosen, right? So I think the mission statement will just make that a lot clearer, and from there we could do what I would call like a reboot, right? Because I know that I'm fairly certain that Kanika was around at the very inception, at the start of CDAC, but then kind of like did not show up again. I don't know also kind of like the effect of Fada's passing on had on the general perception of what's going to happen to CDAC. But at any rate, my hope is that we can kind of like answer all of these things by doing this, to me, which is a simple exercise, which is just verbalizing the mission and then seeing who is actually aligned with it and then bringing them in. Because I have no issues, right? If the main audience of this committee is the 55, the parents of the 55 who are, or the people who are involved with the 55 students who are going outside of the district, then that's where we start. I mean, at least that's defined, right? I mean, at least that's supposed to go. But if it's more than that, then by all means we should, we should find out.
Sure.
Okay.
Good.
All right. So I will take that up with Pravina, and then we can move forward on that for, and I should be able to report something by the next meeting. Okay. So we did have, unless anyone wanted to raise another point regarding the creation of a mission statement, I wanted to update everybody on the other couple of things that a couple of other initiatives that are on the table.
So I think we decided we don't have a quorum, right? Or we're not really.
Yes.
We're not
Right.
sure.
Right.
But
Yeah. So this is.
for the sake of, because we don't know, we'll just say we don't feel that we have a quorum, and I'm totally not sure
Right.
who are the voting members. I think we'll look at those bylaws definitely this summer and present new ones to the board. But number 3 is approval of the agenda. So maybe we table that and go on to just informational items. Is that allowed, Trustee Jones? I'm not totally familiar with all the rules.
Yeah, that's my understanding, is when you don't have quorum, you can have informational items presented, but there's just nothing that can be voted on.
Okay.
Right. Okay.
And
So
just,
let's, sorry, go ahead.
and just a point of clarification, I know Rebecca's going to look back in our notes this evening regarding voting members. We do have some information in the beginning when this committee was formed. I guess it just wasn't listed in the bylaws about voting members. I know this committee discussed that. Beta was involved in that. I think a few of you were at that meeting when we talked about that. So we did want to make sure that the majority was going to be parent-centered. So we had the majority of voting members were going to be the parents. And so we did look at that. We spent a lot of time about that voting member piece. And I know we have that in our minutes. So we will be able to present that and send that, go back into our archives with the meeting notice. Okay. So we might have some more information there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Great. Great.
Yeah, oddly, I feel like you're correct. I do kind of, now that you mentioned, I do kind of like remember a conversation to that effect very early on. But
I gotta find my file.
Yeah, I think it was
There you go.
it was at the first meeting.
Yeah, it
And
was the
so
first meeting.
those should be linked here
at the top.
um,
At the top, yeah.
to, I think going back to the minutes of,
I think it might have been the November. It might have been the November.
okay, yeah.
It might have been.
So yeah, we can look at the
It could have been the
minutes.
first meeting or the second meeting. I know it was
Yeah.
the early meetings.
So maybe outside of this meeting, we can do a little
Right.
history lesson on Sedac. Even though it's only been 2 years, a lot happens along the line, and so we definitely can't remember it all. But
Right.
Should we have some kind of a date for the next meeting, tentative?
I
for the
think
next
we
school
should.
year?
Yeah, I was going to say tonight, if we could pick dates for next year, we need to really publish those so people can reserve that time. And then I will also check in with all members individually.
Oh,
and
it
see-
says right here, it says it right here, a quorum to vote at each meeting would comprise of 50% of the 14 committee member categories listed in the bylaws. It says it at our first meeting.
There you go.
There we
it is.
go.
I'm looking
I
at
knew-
that, reviewing minutes.
I knew we talked about it.
So
Yeah.
it's 50%, and it says 14 committee members, but I did 15. Okay, go ahead.
What
Okay.
is the date?
That is September 23rd, 2019.
The agenda?
Yeah, no, the minutes. the review
Minutes,
of the
okay.
Yeah.
So that was our first meeting. Yeah. So yeah, maybe at the end of tonight, we can bounce some dates around, or you can tell me which nights do not work for you. Like, I know Trustee Jones and I can't do Wednesdays because those will definitely fall on a board meeting night eventually. Maybe Monday nights are the good night, maybe Thursday, but we can talk about that. And I would hope to get some dates published by the end of the year so people can kind of calendar them. And then hopefully, if we can work offline on a vision statement then, or mission statement, and tweak the bylaws so that they reflect what we discussed at that September 2019 meeting, maybe we can get more membership so people understand what the Sedac, what the goal of the Sedac is. And
Absolutely.
Since we now know what a quorum is, since Joni found that information, should we now go back and close this approval of the agenda and the closing? Or do you want to leave it open like this?
Well, if quorum is 50% of 14, that would be 7, which I don't think you have 7 voting members
Only
here.
5 of us.
yeah, we have 6 now because Latha joined us, but that's short one. So.
Okay.
Right.
And
Okay.
other people RSVP'd, but I know life happens and maybe they couldn't log in. I checked my email just now to see if somebody was having any trouble with the link, but it doesn't look like it.
So what kind of statement will you put there?
For which place?
Approval of the agenda and closing.
So I would say we don't have a quorum and thus we'll table the approval of the agenda or something like that.
Okay.
Right. So it's essentially we push it to the next meeting. And so so technically speaking, everything today is informational. All right. Okay. All right.
You know, the only thing that's difficulty with having a Google Doc minutes and things like that, it can be changed, you know, as opposed to being in a PDF format. That's the only thing that's.
Yeah, we can upload them as PDFs. These are locked, so the only editor is Rebecca.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah. So someone could make a copy and edit, but they can't edit the actual original.
It says Francis English is the owner.
Yeah, so that's the agenda, I think, or the master.
That's the minutes. So it says you're the owner
Of the minutes. I think those were, I don't know, Rebecca, did you make me the owner or did we co-own it?
I'm not sure because I didn't know that I had access.
Oh, well, you're the one who writes them, aren't you?
Yeah.
So you do. Okay, you know what? That's a good
Okay.
idea, though. We can PDF these and download them and then upload them into the doc. And that way they're PDFs.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Great. All right, Mark, did you want to share?
Yes.
Yeah, because
right. So
yeah, that's
So in the interest of time, I just wanted to kind of like go over the couple of initiatives, and of course, without a quorum, I guess attendance is now optional, I guess. But here's what it is. So with regard to non-public school satellite in the district, I have gotten a template from Fran. So I'm glad to see Latha's here. So Latha, you and I can now start on basically drafting it, and I think we should be able to get through it fast.
Mm-hmm.
And then once we're done with it, we can just go ahead and request the time to make the recommendation to the board.
Sure, yeah, Mark. Let me know so I can take a look at that.
Right. Yeah, I apologize. I mean, I got it like a couple of weeks earlier, but I started a new project at work, so it's been a little hectic on my end, but starting to calm down. So I'm able to focus again on this.
Yeah, no problem. I can work with you.
All right. The other one is so planning for the year end. The end of the year special education parent night. I think it's too close already to the end of the year for this, but I have reached out to Kanika and we have kind of like made contact. So hopefully we can now talk about maybe something for the start of next year or something in the middle. It's interesting though, now that I have this other like side of it that I can discuss some aspects of Sedac with her. So Pravina, if you're joining me for that, that'll be great. And then in the course of doing that, if we're able to kind of come to like the sharp mission statement, which incorporates kind of like the history as well and the rationale for this body, then that would be great for what is ultimately, I would feel, what would need to happen, which is a reboot of, I guess, the reboot of perception of what this body does, right? Or just basically informing everyone of what it is. And then at which point we can make that public in a general email, something along those lines, so that at least the mission is sharp, and people can then make their decisions based on that.
Wow.
Okay. So that's what I have. I don't want, like I said, I'm not looking to add anything to the agenda just yet, especially since we're now coming to the question that I thought always had to be answered from the very beginning, which is what is this body all about? So I'm glad that we're finally going to take the opportunity to define it, and then make that public, and then we'll after that, I think we'll be able to kind of like decide what the next steps are going to be. But yeah, and that's where I'm currently at. I don't know if anyone has any comments about it or would like to give me any guidance regarding what's on the plate for for what remains of the agenda before the redefinition of the committee. Or actually, it's not a redefinition. It's actually going to be the first time in my, as far as I'm concerned, that we're actually going to formally define it. And that's kind of like where I'm at and what I wanted to update the body on today. All right. I take it there are no questions. Okay.
Got it.
All right. So that said, let's set some dates for the next meetings.
Great. So
and then one second, Fran. And if you don't mind, Latha and Pravina, if afterwards we can talk about the dates for our things, the initiatives that we have, then we can do that after we finish setting the dates for the next meetings.
Sure, yeah.
Okay, thanks. Okay, Fran, what are we looking at as far as the calendar goes?
So in the bylaws, we're to meet at least quarterly. So we want to look at 4, maybe 5 meetings, official meetings. And then I'm also thinking we need some like inner meetings or subcommittee meetings where, because not all of this work can be done in a committee meeting. But I think we start with coming up with the dates for the 2021-22
year
committee meetings. Yeah. And then we can publish those, and I can check in with members and make sure that they can come, or if they maybe are no longer interested in serving, they can certainly step down and we can recruit more people.
Right. But Fran, like I did want to point out, right? I wouldn't want to do that until we can actually say, until this exercise of definition occurs.
I agree.
Because then, I mean, they're just going to be like, oh, then I don't want, I don't want to participate anymore because I don't really understand what we're doing. So I want, that question should be removed.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah. I was just meaning that I know that there have been a couple members who did step down last year just because they were overwhelmed by distance learning and having their children home learning on. So there was a variety of reasons, and that was fine. And we recruited and we got more people to serve. So I think we're in good shape in terms of membership, and we can look at dates. And I love the idea of coming up with a mission statement. I think that's going to be an important part of this process. So do we want, how do we want to do this? For me, Wednesdays are out. I can't commit to any Wednesdays because I never know what's going to be happening on Wednesdays. And I also have board meetings every other week. I imagine most of you don't want to do Fridays.
How about Mondays?
So do Mondays pretty much work for everyone? If you know in advance, you can calendar them.
Yeah, I think as parents, the day is not for us as important as the time, because Monday, with the exception of Friday, as you correctly pointed out, every weekday is just the same. For as far as a parent goes, right? It's just a question of like, we make sure we schedule the meetings past a work, past the reaches of work, or the tendrils of work, I should say. So I think if we say 6 o'clock Mondays.
Is 6 o'clock too early for people, or is that
6 works?
6, okay.
Before you forget it.
Are we going to be meeting in person?
Yeah, I was about to ask that.
Because that'll change the thing if we're fighting traffic and getting to somewhere.
Oh, that's a good question.
Well, go ahead.
In terms of in-person meetings, since this is technically a Brown Act committee, which right now we're allowed to meet virtually, depending on whether or not the legislature takes up some reforms of the Brown Act, we may be required to meet in person, but we won't know that. I know that there are moves in the legislature right now to try to allow some continuation of distance meetings, because during this time period, people have realized that it allows for easier access for a lot of people. And so there's some legislators who want to reform the Brown Act to allow this kind of meeting to continue. But until we know for sure, we won't know until we know what the legislature does. So I think we have to be prepared to need to meet in person. But I think there are going to be definite moves to allow this kind of meeting to continue.
That's so interesting. But yeah, that's amazing. Okay, so can we say something like 6 if we're still virtual, and then 6:30 if we're going to meet in person?
Probably, yeah.
Is that something we're allowed to say, or is that kind of like
works.
wishy-washy?
That sounds good.
All right, let's take, like, we can put that, we can put that down. Okay.
So 6 p.m. if it's 1-to-1 and 6:30 if it's virtual.
Yeah.
Oh, isn't
So
it the other way around?
the other way around, I think.
The
6
other way
if
around.
it's virtual, 6:30 in person.
Yeah. Sorry.
Got it.
It would be great if they did some reforms, because we have had such a good turnout at our CAC meetings. We normally would have 15 to 20 parents. At our last one, we had over 100. So childcare is an issue. The commute is an issue. Cooking dinner is an issue. And so it would be really cool if they could make some amendments to those rules.
Right. And you know, even if we go back to like the general board meeting has to be in public live, you know, they may make some exceptions for committees that are different. So I think our legislators are hearing loud and clear that participation has actually been better during distance. And so I anticipate them allowing this to continue, but like I said, we won't know until they make a final decision.
Okay.
Yeah, that would be very cool though. Okay,
Right.
so how about I pick dates? When do we want to start?
February?
September? Do we?
Oh, I'm just kidding.
Do we want to start in September or October? Maybe do some pre-planning meetings and then start in October, or start in, I mean, you guys get to call it. So do we want to schedule a meeting in September?
I think that's a
I
good
think, yeah, September should be good. I feel.
Yeah, I think so as well, especially if you're going to make a bylaws change. You want to do that as early in the year as possible. In fact, if there's a way you need to maybe ask the superintendent if there's a way to make a bylaws change over the summer, so that you go into the next year with the bylaws already clarified with any changes.
That would be good. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll check with him. And then do we want to avoid December?
Right. I was going to suggest working backwards. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. Yeah.
I just want to suggest that your bylaws, your minutes and all that stuff, not be a Google document, but also, you know, once it's set, that you have it as a PDF once it's done.
Sure. Yeah.
Right.
And I think that on the website, they're PDFs, but I can update all of our stuff to be, I'll upload the PDFs and then attach them.
At what website, Fran?
The district website. Yeah.
For this committee?
Yeah.
Okay. Along with the minutes and everything, it's the PDF.
Yeah, it should all be there. I haven't looked at it lately, but Bart updates it pretty regularly.
Okay. And who's responsible for doing that?
Bart Payne, and then also Bobby Platt does some of it. So
I remember Bobby from Chadbourne days.
yeah, she
When my kids went to Chadbourne.
She was there a long time, and then we dragged her over to special ed because
wow,
she's amazing.
I remember her.
Who sends her the information? Who sends the information? The secretary?
Oh, yeah, Rebecca sends it to me and then I send it over to Bart and Bobby.
So she sends it to you in the PDF form and then you send it to.
You know what I think? I was thinking about what you just said, Rebecca, and I think you sent it to me in a PDF and I downloaded it as a Google Doc, which is why it shows me as the owner, but really I should have left it in PDF, but it's just a habit, so.
Or should I send it to you in a Word doc?
No, I think you should send it as a PDF and I should just not download it as a Google. I should download it as a PDF and then attach it. So that was my fault. So,
Okay. Yeah, that'll work nicely.
Joni's right that these should be they should be PDFs. That way people can't make copies of them. And I mean, I don't know who might do that, but it is a public document, so we should do PDFs for those. So. Okay, great. So we're almost out of time. I'm going to go ahead and send you all a list of dates. And then if you could, do you guys like doodles or do you hate those? Yeah, I'm terrible at using Doodle, but maybe I just send you a list of possible dates and you can let me know if any of them are completely out of the question. And then we will look to other dates.
What's doodles?
A doodle poll. You set it up. I'm not great at setting them up, but you set it up with proposed dates and then you send it out to each member of whoever you're trying to schedule with, and then they can click on which dates work.
Oh, that works great.
It's kind of cool. You can look then and see who's available when and what have you.
Perfect.
Yeah, so I could try to do one of those.
I think that's great.
We have faith in you, Farron. You can do it. You can doodle. You know how to doodle.
I'm getting better at it.
If you can finger paint, you can doodle.
You think? Okay. I'm not very good at painting, but I'll do my best. So, all right, great. Anything else for the good of the order?
Oh, we covered quite a lot.
Yeah, I think we can get it all organized in a more consistent fashion, and then maybe do our board does and a lot of our committees do agenda review, and so they look at the agenda before the meeting so that we make sure we know what we're doing. So maybe I could propose some dates for like an agenda review prior to the meeting, at least a week in advance, so we can clean it up. And
that'll be super helpful.
Yeah, and then I don't want to waste anyone's time. I know I value your time. We really want to do this work on behalf of Feda and her vision. Mm-hmm. And then a lot of you have a similar vision, and children who are special needs like mine. So we're very dedicated to this work, and we want to make sure it's meaningful and make sure we can make some progress with our goals. But we need goals first, I guess.
I did have a question. Mark, how did it go with do we have a time frame in terms of the board presentation for?
No, not yet. So like I said, we have the template now. We're going to finish the template pretty quickly, and then we'll reach out and let you know when that's ready to go.
Are we waiting till August, or we are doing it before that end?
No, I think we should do it before. I'm going to send you the template right now.
Okay.
And I think just looking at it, I think we could probably crank it out in a single working session.
Okay, yeah.
So Mark, do you have enough support? Are you having everything you need to be able to complete the task? Do you have everything?
Yeah, I think
if we can, I think that would be good to schedule like a subcommittee meeting. And then we had data last year that we brought forth with relative to non-public schools, and then also the parent input that we did a huge survey. So we can revisit that data when we're putting together the slides.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's exciting.
Yeah, very exciting.
Latha, I'll pass forward the template now. Then you can just respond with whatever time you think works for you.
Yeah. I'll take a look and reply you.
Yeah, for me, I'm generally open from like 4:30 and later. So whatever works for you.
Yeah, same with me also. It's works. Evenings are good for me.
Okay.
Anyway, I'll reply to you.
Would the template be like an initial agenda item for September?
So I guess.
Yeah.
I think we'll be done. I think we'll be done by then. honestly.
I'm just wondering, since will the committee get a chance to look at what's going to be presented to the board prior to
Yeah, that's
that meeting again? That's why I'm just kind of wondering how that is going to take
How,
place.
yeah,
What-
how would that take place?
So I think
This-
timeline wise, because next year our focus is going to be reentry into the world that we remember from a year ago. But what we can do is, I'm thinking the timeline realistically, because this is a huge endeavor. Look to present, having our first meeting in September, we look at this presentation and all the moving pieces, and then agendize it for the board to make whatever recommendation the team feels is appropriate. And then plan for an August 2022 launch of a non-public school satellite in the district to bring back as many students with autism as we can from programs outside the district. So that's
Yeah.
realistically the way things move. I know, just because even our board agendas are very packed, it's not always easy to get an item on there. So realistically speaking, we're looking at an August 2022 launch for.
Right. And truly, right, even from just like the lens of COVID, right? I mean, you don't really, it wasn't really kind of like the right time to bring up in-person schooling, inside of the district, right? I mean, I think 2022 is something that is, hopefully we are all kind of like looking at to be, you don't want to complicate the entire question of like bringing people into kind of like a non, like a new school inside of the district in the midst of this, where the question of like, are we even going to be in person, was still kind of like hanging in the air. So I think that's a valid timeline.
So the committee, the subgroup is looking at pulling the presentation together, possibly over the summer or within the next month or so, and kind of looking at trying to get on the agenda in September, the September board agenda, and presenting the information to them as an information item, and see if they can move it over to an action item at some point in time. Is that what the plan is?
It sounds good to me.
Right on.
So we'll right. Like,
one more minute.
as far as just want to get it, we'll just get it done and get it there. Clearly, a review has to happen. So the review will happen at when the next meeting comes about, and then hopefully we can move forward from that point.
Thanks for that, Mark. Thanks for the information. All right. Well, good luck to you all. I'm glad that you guys have some pieces moving forward and you have everything that you need. Thanks for letting us know. And let us know if you need anything.
All right, sweet.
Okay.
Great.
All right.
This was a wonderful meeting. I feel like we're kind of within all the changes in our lives over the past year, and with this terrible pandemic, I feel like we can get this committee back on track. Our priorities had, of course, shifted to distance learning, but I really want to do this for Feda and her memory. And our board was very supportive of the committee and very interested in the committee's opinions and data and the survey results from the parents, etc. So we want to do it justice, and I feel like we're going to get back on track now.
And I just want to thank Mark for stepping in this role. And I really, really do appreciate you stepping up in this role. And you did a fabulous job as chair this year. I hope that you continue on leading us in the right direction. And Rebecca, thanks for being the secretary. And for all our other parent volunteers, thank you so much for showing up. I'm sure your life has been like a juggler in a circus for showing up in such a good cause. So thank you.
And to our student member, I cannot believe how amazing our students are.
Oh, I thought
That
he was
Amolia Harish?
he was at the beach. I said, very recognized. I thought he was
Is
over
that
there at the beach.
Amolia?
Yeah, well, yeah, kids nowadays are so much smarter than I ever was. So I'm always so impressed by
He's making life.
their
I'm gonna put
presence.
I'm gonna put the meeting has ended at 7:01.
Okay.
Sounds
All
good.
right.
Okay, thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Pravina, oh, she's gone. Oh,
I'm
Karina,
here.
there you are.
I'm still
Yeah,
here.
I'm just gonna, because I don't want to take up Fran's Zoom meeting. Let me just email you, and then
Sure.
we'll just set a time to go talk to Kanika, and then kind of like get our thoughts together regarding
Sure.
this
I'm
whole
happy
thing.
to, if you'd like to meet like separately, just have a quick
Oh, you
call
want?
or
Yeah.
like
Do
a
you have?
working
Okay. Let me.
session. Not right
Tell you
now,
what, let
but
me-
like in general, anytime. I'm pretty open
Got it.
in the evenings.
Okay.
so.
And Latha, I will send the email to you right now.
Yeah, I'll wait for your email. Thank you, ma'am.
Great.
All
Thank
right,
you,
thanks,
everyone.
Thank
everybody.
you,
Thanks,
everyone.
guys.
Bye. Have a
Bye.
good day.
Bye.